Hey, and welcome to Matt and Jess TV. I am at Roast here with Jessica Bun Bun for our Sugar Season 1, Episode 4 reaction and review. Can we get weirder than last week, where we suggested that either per you, John Sugar is an alien, or per me, John Sugar is undead? We have a lot to try to top here when it comes to being weird.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to top the weirdness of aliens, but I'm definitely now dying on this hill after this episode. There was a lot of smoke in this last episode, but now in this episode, I feel more and more like maybe we actually might be going in that direction.
I'm feeling more and more like maybe we are actually going in the direction where John Sugar was dead and he's had something weird that happened to him.
Oh, I like
Because
this.
of, when you're undead or you've been brought back to life, maybe there are some complications, and maybe that's why Vickers is just like, "Are you okay, Sugar?" When he's just like, "Why is everybody asking this question?" It's because you don't remember everything that happened to you. They know that you've got the undead condition, and when you have the undead condition, things can go awry, and they got to keep watch on you at all times.
That's why you'd be able to drink a whole bunch of alcohol and nothing would happen to you. Same if you're an alien. Maybe he's an undead alien. Oh, we just got weirder.
Because that is like, if that happened, that is
Combine the theories.
Yes, Captain Planet powers combining everybody. Why not? The real thing that we should all be aware of at this point, something's off about old Johnny Boy, and I think we can very, very easily say that. We will get a lot more into it, rest assured. But if you're enjoying this discussion right now, be sure to hit that subscribe button, because we are going to be here through all of Sugar to either celebrate one of us being right with these theories, or
both of us taking an L,
or both of us getting like scrambled eggs all over our face and never being able to clean it up. But by subscribing, you help to support us and make sure you don't miss anything else we have coming up here.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Okay.
You want to just dive into the theories? Let's dive into the theories. So last week I was talking about how John Sugar is an alien and some of the things that made me think that, where he was like, I have secrets, while he's looking up into the sky, and there's all these shots of the sky and the moon, and like, we're here to observe and, not participate, which is definitely something that's very alien-esque. Okay. Going into this episode started right off with like an alien reference. He's talking to Vickers. Vickers is like, "You okay?" Sugar is talking about a movie, and he's talking about The Thing, which is about aliens. And I was just like, oh, stop it. I mean, they already kind of had that little tongue-in-cheek thing in the last episode too, with like, oh, the UFOs are a great band. I was like, oh, stop. And now this episode, they're talking about The Thing. So I was kind of like, okay, so there's another alien reference in this as well. Then he also made this comment, I wouldn't be human if I wasn't excited. I'm like, that sounds like something an alien would say, to be like, hey, I am human too. We are humans. I'm excited. Me also a human. Like, that's what it felt like. Then he also said, I've been doing this a long time, but when it comes to people, I have a lot to learn. And I was like, you're people, like, aren't you? Listen, I really think that he's an alien. I'm doubling down on it.
That's fine. I will give you this with the alien theory, is that the whole UFOs thing and the whole thing about The Thing, ironically, like, those are pretty strong clues. And if
he's not an alien, they want to lead me down that road so that they can later be like, ha ha ha, he's undead, he's a vampire, he's AI, whatever it is that they're gonna do, because they're definitely dropping this information that he is an alien all over the place.
Well, here is the funniest thing, is that ever since you sort of implanted that idea about him being an alien in my head, kind of like aliens, when you get abducted by them, they implant stuff in your head too. I still like theme songs. I don't like to skip over the theme songs of a lot of shows. And if you listen real carefully, at the end of the theme song for Sugar, there's just this like weird little note that's just sort of like, and it sounds a little bit like an alien transmission. And I don't know.
Welcome.
Listen, I'm not saying
you're not there yet.
I'm not there yet, but I'm saying it's not as crazy as it may have sounded to a lot of people who watched the video last week. It's like
I felt like I was in crazy town as I was saying my theory last week.
If you are, we have both already taken the crazy pills, and this is just where we are. But
This week, I'm feeling a little more confident. It feels like they put a little more smoke on my alien theory.
Well, that's awesome because I'm feeling more confident about my undead theory
all right,
here. Okay.
let's go.
It starts, of course, with what I said earlier about Vickers, and it feels to me like it's certainly possible that there's just a large swath of people who are just sort of behind this experiment and things that are going on. And if they basically have found a way to sort of craft people into the sort of person that they want doing this sort of job, which are people who can be fairly objective but still have a level of goodness and aren't about to get dirty or anything else that can be associated with bad people in this profession. It seems like an interesting experiment to run. It's like, okay, we'll have somebody like Sugar come in and do all these jobs. They're going to do a good job with it. We can observe his behavior, see if this is working. Maybe we sort of extend it outward. But then, you know, you mentioned those other quotes a little bit earlier, and I kind of had thought about them too in a way where I wouldn't be human if I wasn't excited. Well, that's congratulations, Johnny. I don't know why I keep calling you Johnny. I'm sorry. Congratulations, Johnny.
Johnny Sugar.
Johnny Sugar, you are human. It's just you're not human in the same way
anymore.
Yes, like you were a human at one point, so it kind of makes sense that you would think this way. Yes, his whole thing about when it comes to people, I still have a lot to learn. Yeah, because you're not fully a person, and I think a consequence that comes with being brought back to life or animated, or whether you want to talk about, you know, Frankenstein's monster or a lot of other instances of zombies or undead or people who have been reborn, or even if you're going like full Arrowverse and you go into like when Sarah Lance comes out of the Lazarus pit and she's just like all crazy with the bloodlust. It's like there are things that happen to you when you come back, and maybe you're not the same person you once were. Maybe your memory is wiped. Maybe your social perception is different. I think that they have just established enough at this point that, okay, John Sugar has some things about him that do feel human to me, but it does also feel like there's something that's very, very missing. And it's just amazing how he's clearly been in, you know, Los Angeles for a little while, but he's not jaded like most people in Los Angeles. And, you know, I talked a little bit about him not complaining about traffic, but even his affection still for going and seeing these old movies and still being wide-eyed about it and still having these conversations about why he enjoys them. It's just, there's such an interesting, almost childlike affection that he has for some of these things that just, it doesn't feel like a normal person, no matter where you land here, even if we're both terribly wrong. Sugar producers, you can't convince us that this guy is just a normal guy at this point. I'm sorry, it just doesn't, unless you're saying he's like a time traveler, which is another theory that we haven't brought up, and he's still so like enthusiastic about this present era. It's just, I don't think he's normal.
Okay, let's talk about Stallings, because there was the big reveal at the end of this episode that he has Olivia's necklace in his place. He has a locked door. We don't know what's behind it. Is it Olivia? Let us know in the comments. I think maybe it's possible. We both think that Olivia is still alive, that she's not dead. But her necklace that we saw, she was doing all these social media posts throughout the whole episode wearing this necklace. Then we see the necklace at the end of the episode in Stallings' place. And then there's this locked door. Stallings is very interesting to me because he is very much involved with whatever's happening with Olivia. He's got the necklace, so something has happened there. He also has some sort of involvement with Davy and what's going on with the Siegel family, because everything that Davy was doing, it's all come out. Who leaked it out there? Probably Melanie, but it's all out there now. So Stallings actually called Davy to kind of be like, listen, there's a lot of heat on you right now. People are going to be asking you questions. But if you talk about me, no, nothing great is going to happen to you. So I was just like, okay, so he's got Olivia's necklace. Something is going on with him and Davy. He is definitely involved in this Siegel family to some degree. My theory, my tinfoil hat theory, because we're talking about aliens here.
Okay.
Is I'm still in the same theory that I was in the past video, which is that because Ruby, we have Sugar calling in and being like, hey, what can you tell me about Stallings? What'd you find out? And she's actually sitting in front of a blank screen and she's deleted a whole bunch of information about him. I think that we have two sets of aliens. I think we have Sugar, who's like on the good side. That's like, okay, you're going to be part of the good humans. You're going to go out and do good things and find people and solve cases and be this good guy. And this is what we're going to study over here. Then we're going to have a group of Stallings, a bunch of bad people that are going to be over here doing bad things, because we also need to study that for balance. That they're kind of like, there's only good and bad, not really realizing that all humans live in the gray area. Nobody's all good, all bad. Everybody's got the shades of gray all over them. But I think that that's what the aliens are doing. And now that these cases are overlapping, because Stallings is over here doing all these bad things with Olivia and bad things with Davy, and now Sugar's looking into it, Ruby's like, uh-oh, uh-oh. And that's what I think is going on, of why she doesn't want these two cases like overlapping.
I think there is a situation here where Stallings is clearly attached to whatever's happening with Ruby, whatever operation is being run here. Like, if I'm going with the whole undead theory, then my guess would be that Stallings either knows about the program to some extent or knows an element about who John Sugar was before all of this. And I mean, but that would also be tricky because it doesn't seem like he's recognized him. He's basically
maybe they've changed what he looks like.
Yeah, it's possible. But at the same time, it's a situation where he clearly knows a certain amount that's dangerous to Sugar, and Ruby does not want that coming out. I mean, it's possible that Stallings worked as a part of this operation at one point and then left. Maybe he's going rogue and doing it in his own way with other people. I mean, It seems like he's got a certain number who are in his employ right now. But here is where things get a little bit tricky for me, is that this is only episode 4. We still have a long way to go. Do I think that Stallings is involved somehow in the Olivia mystery? Sure. Like you said, you got the necklace. Like, that's no coincidence.
And a locked door? Like, who's behind there besides Olivia?
Stallings is not the biggest of the big bats, though. Like, I'm not willing to go there yet. It just feels too early, and we know too much about Stallings at this point. I think that Stallings is working for someone, and I think that someone is behind what's going on here with Olivia. I mean, you want to go full super crazy about it, suggest that Jonathan himself is involved as sort of a bigger bad, or somebody tied to
Bernie.
Jonathan. Yeah, like, there's still a lot of different ways that you can go with that, but I think one of the big reasons why, Stallings is threatening Davy on the phone is because he doesn't want his name out there. He doesn't want anything suggesting him to come out. Mostly, I think, out of his own fear and self-preservation, that, like, if he starts to become implicated in X, Y, and Z in some sort of like super public manner, then that's going to spook the people that are with him. His business operations go awry. He's not going to be able to do what he wants.
It's making me feel that Olivia found out way more about what was going on with Davy. I mean, she was having this conversation with Taylor, that we learned some of the things that Davy did to her, and Olivia knew as well. So it's possible that as she's being more and more vocal out there, that she was getting ready to blow the lid off of this, and Davy found out about it, got Stallings to come in and be like, listen, this is going on with Olivia. I don't know what to do. Okay, I'll come in and help. And maybe Stallings is the family fixer.
Yeah, I think there's a good chance of that. And I think if
the alien family fixer.
The alien family. That feels like a good spin-off show in itself. The alien family fixture. Fix this or the probings begin.
That's right. Ooh.
But okay, enough about probings. Let's also now transfer over to, there's all this stuff that's going on at this point with Davy, with Stallings, but then we've got Jonathan. And here, we haven't gotten crazy enough in this video, clearly, based on what I'm about to say. Was Jonathan's heart attack a plan? Is this something where he's trying to throw people off his own scent by making him come across as more of just like a victim of stress, a victim of everything that is happening? Or here's the other idea. Did someone do this to Jonathan somehow as a warning so that he could get them to back off on what's going on here? Because it just feels like to me, and I understand that Jonathan Siegel is an older gentleman, it's very bizarre that we haven't seen James Cromwell that much on the show. And this very specific circumstance where we see him again is when he happens to have a heart attack. It's just, he's not dead, which I thought there was a good chance when I first saw him have a heart attack. But at the same time, if he's not dead and this is all a setup, why'd you keep him alive? What's the purpose in all of this?
Okay, my theory
Yeah.
is that they just wanted to be able to tie in at the beginning when John was talking about the thing and he was talking about that scene with Kurt Russell and the pads where somebody was trying to have their heart start again. The name is running away from you, defibrillator
There you
pads.
go.
Okay. And the alien was inside and like pulled his arms through or whatever. I think they wanted to bookend that with the same thing where we saw John looking down at Jonathan. The same thing was happening. Like it's not a coincidence that we started with that and we kind of ended with that same sort of feeling. So I think they were just like, let's do this. It'll be a little, nudge, nudge, wink, wink to all the people who think that he's an alien out there, and then we'll have him live. So it won't really matter. That's what I think.
There's a good chance that you're right. My problem with this show at this point is that every single thing we get, I'm about to have 300 different questions about
I
it. I don't
know.
believe anything. I don't believe anyone. I will say there's one thing I'm proud that the show did in this episode that I wanted them to do. Actor mother. And that I'm pretty sure John Sugar's mother was an actor after that conversation that they had.
Oh, 100%. I was like, oh, she's an employee.
Yeah, it was fun to see sort of that rapport, to see how he is a few steps ahead, because I was going to be really upset if Davey just comes in here and this
Figures it out.
yeah, because Davey sucks. Davey is not fun, not smart. He's an awful human being. I don't
Yes.
have any sort of belief that he's going to be the person who's the undoing of John Sugar. However, at the
No.
same time, we are only 4 episodes into all of this. If John Sugar is an alien or an undead, and we know we've all heard that those big twists are coming, when are you going to reveal them? And then also, how are you going to reveal them? Because I don't think Sugar's just going to open the door somewhere and be like, guess what? I am John Sugar, but I'm not really the John Sugar you. No, he's not going to
And
be
then
the.
tentacles like sprout out of his
Okay,
face.
no. Okay, if you're gonna make John Sugar an alien, please do not do tentacle head. I beg of you.
Okay, let's talk about Melanie a little bit
All
as
right.
we're kind of getting to the end of this video, because my big question for you guys and for you
Yeah.
is, how much does she know? Because when she was having sort of this conversation with Teresa in, the previous episodes, it seemed like she knew quite a bit. Then she's having this conversation with Sugar and they're both talking to Taylor and she's getting more information. And I was like, I wonder how much of this she knows and what type of details she doesn't know. That maybe now that she's getting the deeper details on what's actually happening to these people, she's starting to feel, even deeper badly about what's going on, but that she kind of knew some stuff that's going on because her and Bernie have been trying to get their stories the same and
Yeah.
talking about things. We saw them having a bit of an argument that we couldn't hear, where it almost felt like Melanie knew some stuff. She knew that maybe Bernie was trying to cover up stuff with Davy, but didn't know exactly what was going on, and then got these details from Taylor and was like, oh no.
I
No,
think
no, no.
I think that's exactly it. I this is a crisis of conscience, I believe, for what's going on for Melanie, because it's just a situation where, because of her own, relationship with Davy, because of everything within this family, like she probably had a certain amount of blinders on where she might have known a lot of things that probably happened, but I think she probably lived in denial for a good bit of it. She didn't want to see it. She didn't want to think too much about it. But I think there's a difference between, hearing certain things secondhand, or
Mhm.
hearing about the idea of things that he might have done, but then getting a firsthand story from Taylor about it and actually kind of seeing very specific details spelled out. Like there's a certain tipping point, I think, for a lot of people where you can't ignore the truth anymore when the truth is staring you in the face. And it is about an inch from her face at
Yeah.
the end of this conversation. And I think now she's in this spot where she has to sort of recognize and contend with what is going on with and what she's ultimately okay with. And I want to think that coming out of this episode, she's going to decide, I'm not okay with any of this anymore. I'm going to act. But of course, the problem is that you're dealing with somebody who's pretty close to the situation, and there's a certain inherent amount of emotion that's going to come into that. And so
Mhm.
I don't want to make an assumption now that her actions potentially in episode 4 are going to equal what happens in episode 5. Like, she may end up kind of falling all over the map with it.
Yeah, she very well could be. But I mean, I do feel like she's probably the person that went to the papers with it. I mean, it could be Taylor, it could be anybody, but I think it was probably her at that point where she tried to talk to Bernie about it, wasn't getting anywhere, and was like, I'm calling.
Yeah, I think it has to be her, because I think it makes the most sense if it's somebody with a certain amount of influence who might
Yeah.
have a connection or two who can really hammer some of this stuff home and maybe can get some other sources and all that sort of stuff
Mhm.
on the record. I think what makes Sugar, I think, as a show so interesting beyond the alien undead stuff and all that is that, we do still have a compelling mystery at the core of all this. I mean, yeah, I'm going to be a little bit disappointed if it's as straightforward as just like, okay, it's all Stallings. Let's wrap this all up and go home, just because it feels too obvious right now. But I'm enjoying the world a lot.
If I don't think it's Stallings. I think he's so involved in the Siegel family that it just feels like it's like one of 3 people in this family. Like, it's Jonathan, it's Bernie, it's Davy. It's one of the guys in the family has brought him in to do something. And I think that he's been brought in to take Olivia to make her quiet right now. Just get her off the map a little bit while they deal with, covering up Davy's nonsense and the horrible things that he's been doing, and it didn't work out. I think they were just trying to quiet this for now and then bring her back, and it would be okay.
I hope that the show keeps this momentum moving forward. I
Yeah.
hope we do get the reveal of the twist before the finale. I want to have like an episode or two where the twist is actually blown out there. We can all see
Yeah.
it, understand it,
Yep.
deal with the aftermath.
Yes.
But where do you guys lie on all of this? Are you team alien? Are you team undead? Are you team, you guys are out of your minds? You guys need to go take a nap? Like, let us know
Yeah.
in the comments. And also, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss anything else here.
Mhm.
Thank you so much to our patrons for
Thank
your
you.
support. We'll see you guys here next time.